listening to the Realest podcast. I'm Blake Carter, joined by Kyle and Andrew, of course. Kyle was out yesterday for Monday Night Raw, was sick, and then we get a much better show today. I have the election on in the background. You guys won't be able to hear it, but if anything big happens, I'll be sure to say something about it on here. We're going to be once again introducing the call-in feature, which all you have to do is call a number that I'm going to be putting on the screen soon. So, yeah. That is how it's going to go. So what'd you guys
Sounds
think
interesting.
what'd you guys think of tonight?
I honestly think it's like a night and day experience. It really is. I mean, like, you look at the difference between how Raw it is and how SmackDown is, and it's really such a night and day comparison. Raw, man, everybody was just trashing Raw last night. Me and you were trashing Raw. SmackDown, I was excited for SmackDown. I enjoyed every single bit of SmackDown. I enjoyed the women's match between Becky and Alexa Bliss. That was a great match. There was only like one botch that I was upset with, but other than that, it was a great match.
What about you, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a great show. It really was. I mean, yeah, like Andrew said, he really hit the nail on the head. It was really night and day compared to Raw, and tonight's show was just absolutely great all around. I think it might be James Ellsworth, dude. I think he's turning the tides. It's all him, dude. It's just a James Ellsworth show.
I think
Well, I mean, speaking of James Ellsworth, I'm sorry to interrupt there. It's breaking news that James Ellsworth has been named the official mascot of Team SmackDown Live.
yeah, and Baron Corbin is no longer a part of this SmackDown live match or the Survivor Series
Right.
match, and man, did Daniel Bryan mess with everyone when he
Oh
mentioned
yeah,
his name.
oh yeah. Everybody was all excited. Well, see, it's interesting to see that it was kind of a fly ball to see that they chose Baron Corbin for the Survivor Series team, and now you see what their plan was from the start. You know, they have Baron Corbin running the injury angle. They have him starting up a feud with Kalisto. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets involved in Kalisto's match at Survivor Series at some capacity. But I mean, that's big news. I mean, Shane McMahon is now the official fifth member of SmackDown Live. That can't be a coincidence.
Yeah. Um, I honestly, for a while, thought it was gonna be James Ellsworth. But me personally, I think James Ellsworth is his welcome and all this hype. It's kind of overdone now. What's y'all's thoughts on that? Over him still being, you know, being in, I guess you could say, in the main event picture still.
Well, I mean, with me personally, I feel like James Ellsworth is a welcome sight. I like the gimmick he's running. The only thing that I would like to see better is for James Ellsworth to be a little bit less. I want to say, like, they kind of run the image that he's just like a referee, that he's not really like an athlete. But I mean, that's far from the case. I mean, the guy is a wrestler. He is. It's just they choose to promote him as this guy who doesn't seem to know what he's doing or has absolutely no chance of winning. And I mean, you have to give the guy some talent. The guy runs independent scenes. So I would like to see more James Ellsworth of the capacity of him. I want to see him actually make a difference. If they plan on doing something important with him in Survivor Series, I want to see him step up and be that pin in Raw side. If it is something in the works for James Ellsworth on SmackDown.
What about you, Kyle?
I mean, that's possible. I don't know. They might just keep him as like a joke kind of thing of working him as just like a stupid jobber that's like got a little bit of a chance, and then it might die out at the Survivor Series. I don't know, but I think it would be interesting though to see him be like a distraction for Raw or mess with the guys or something like that, which I think we'll see, and that'd be the best way to work him. They'll just have him being there like a little cheerleader, have him actually mess with the Raw guys to make it more interesting, like the sixth man kind of thing situation.
Yeah. Um, another big announcement is Edge will be returning for the 900th episode of SmackDown. Next week's SmackDown just looks outstanding.
Yeah.
Wish they'd have the peep show too. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So Edge will be back with the cutting edge. Undertaker, as we discussed just
Undertaker is
over
returning.
the weekend, he's returning next week as well. So we're gonna have Undertaker, we're gonna have Edge, confirmed. So I mean that's huge.
Yeah, I mean, next week, and then we have the Intercontinental Championship, and then we have the potential of having another women's championship. Which let's talk about the women's championship. Obviously, if no one is able to see the finish, Becky got into, or Andrew, you explain it. I'm tweeting this out right now. What happened in the
Okay,
match?
so you could really tell that the match was meant to end up as like a setup finish to where it's kind of going to extend a feud between Becky and Alexa, at least going down the road. As soon as she locked in that cross arm breaker, you could see that her feet are clearly underneath the ropes. And then when Becky pulls Alexa out and puts her back in the arm bar, Alexa's able to get her foot on the ropes. And of course, her feet are on the ropes when she taps out. The referee doesn't see it. Referee calls for the bell and says that Becky wins, but doesn't see the rope break. Shane McMahon says that the referee's call is final, but you got to understand that this is probably a way to kind of extend their feud further, and I don't blame them. Alexa Bliss and Becky Lynch have been very good together. I enjoy their feud. I think that they have something going, and I would love to see them carry it out past Survivor Series to their next pay-per-view.
Yeah, I enjoy controversy, but it depends on how it plays out now. That's the big one for me. Is it depends on how it plays out from here. Now, Kyle, what do you think of the controversy? Do you like it, dislike it, and what outcome do you want to see?
Oh, I absolutely love it. I liked it because this feud, it's been really good so far, but it's really been only promos. They've only had, like, this feud's been lasting for, what is it, a few months, I would say, or at least a month. It's been lasting for a while and only had one match between them. They haven't done anything one-on-one until tonight, so they easily need to continue this feud. And I'm glad they ended it the way they did, so you can keep going. They could have more singles action, more promos, because it's the best thing they could be doing right now. Instead they're going to have Becky win clean and then what? Move on to somebody else. No, Alexa Bliss is a big contender. She's done great things already. She was given a chance in NXT, and she ran with it. Now she's given a chance at SmackDown, and she's doing amazing things with it. So definitely they're stepping in the right direction of keeping this feud going and just let them keep tearing the house out. Because tonight's match was great. I loved it, and I want to see more of it. And I'm glad it ended in controversy, and we get to see more of it now.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think one thing that really catches my eye is the heels of SmackDown are so much better than the women's heel on Raw. I think altogether Charlotte is the best heel in the women's division, but she's truly the only heel they have in that division.
Right. At least it has like enough traction to kind of run with an important feud. I mean, Nia Jax, she has the potential to be a huge heel. She just hasn't had the time to prove that she can be a good heel on, Raw television.
Well, it goes back to the point where, again, she's probably one of the biggest women that's ever wrestled for WWE, and most women aren't able to work with her, or they attempt to work with her, and it looks like it's very difficult. So we really can't see what she has, but there's no telling. I thought Nia Jax was okay in NXT. I still don't think she should have been called up as soon as she did.
Well, I mean, you have to understand that probably has a lot to do with who she's related to.
That is true.
they get, when you have like a generation of superstars like that, they tend to get more favoritism than other superstars, and it can be unfair at times, but that's just the way that business works. That's the way that life works. It's always not just about what you know, it's about who you know.
Right.
And Nia Jax, she's getting the opportunity to come up a little earlier than expected. The same could have possibly been said about Charlotte. Charlotte, because she was Ric Flair's daughter, got the opportunity to get on the main roster before other girls. But the thing I'll say about Charlotte, and that's the thing that Nia Jax hasn't really had the opportunity to prove, it's that Charlotte actually doesn't need her father's name to get where she is. She doesn't, because she's very good at what she does, and she's very much capable of carving her own path without her father's name benefiting her in the future.
Yeah, well, speaking more of SmackDown Live, Breezango is now the final SmackDown team to enter the Survivor Series traditional 10 on 10 match. Would you guys rather see the Vaudevillains, or do you agree with this?
I
definitely
really
agree
do.
with Breezango, man.
I like Breezango. I really do. I mean, I like the Vaudevillains too. I would have preferred to see the Vaudevillains in there. I feel like, um, I feel like they had a very good thing going on NXT, and ever since they got to the main roster, like the Ascension, they sort of just fizzled out. So, I mean, for the sake of like teams like the Ascension and of course the Vaudevillains, I would like to see them have more screen time, because those guys really know how to get the crowd, you know, on their side and also against them. So, I would definitely like to see them get out there more often. So it's a little bit disappointing for me.
Yeah. You thought you don't like Breezango in it?
I like Breezango. I do. I feel like um, I'm a little bit frustrated. I mean, I like Breezango, but I really like Tyler Breeze on his own. Um, as opposed to the Vaudevillains, who I've liked them as a tag team. I think they have good promise as a tag team. They're not being used effectively. So, I mean, for me, it's a disappointment that the Vaudevillains weren't or aren't in Survivor Series. But at the same time, I do like Breezango. I just wish Tyler Breeze was being used more efficiently, like on the Intercontinental Circuit. Or, if the Cruiserweight title even came to SmackDown, he could be on the Cruiserweight circuit. I mean, he fits the description, and he is underrated, and he would be better used in that division.
Well, yeah. You remember last night you predicted that the goodness gracious, I just lost them. The Ascension would be in this spot, and they're not. What do you think that SmackDown? What's y'all's thoughts? I'll let Kyle go first. Your thoughts on the Ascension not even being mentioned in this?
I absolutely can't stand it. Like, me and Andrew have the same opinion on it. I'm sure you do too. The Ascension is so underused because they were so good in NXT. They were amazing. They should have been able to come up here and just decimate people, especially with this opportunity on SmackDown. And for them not even be mentioned absolutely blows my mind because they, like I said, they are such a good tag team. If you just book them right and give them a chance, they can be the best tag team on this show. Even in the whole WWE. They really can. They can even beat the tag teams on Raw if you give them the chance and the opportunity. They haven't been given that. They're not getting
Well,
shit. They got put on the main roster and they got like nothing.
well, see, that's the key, though. The key word is they haven't been booked properly. Same thing with the Vaudevillains. The Ascension, if you use them the right way, the way they are meant to be used, they could be a great asset to the WWE. The problem is that when they brought them up, they decided, oh, well, I really want to see them do the whole Legion of Doom act, and that really lost interest in the Ascension. They, instead of keeping what they were built on and what made them popular, they took their gimmick away and replaced it with something old and used, and that really hurt the Ascension. Now they were mentioned for the tag team championship or the tag team Survivor Series match. The problem is they lost to the Hype Bros, which for me was a big disappointment because, like the Vaudevillains, the Ascension really deserved to be in there, or at least they could be used effectively. And it's just like I've been saying since day one, since they've been drafted here and haven't been used right. If you want to get the best out of the Ascension, the best thing to do, at least going forward, is to keep them out of big main events like that, because you want to get them to the point where they're just wiping everybody out. You don't want to be putting them up against big tag teams that you're forcing them to lose against, like American Alpha, because they are expected to be better. You throw them in there with some random talent, let them run through that, and then work them up to people like the Hype Bros and knock them off. And then eventually you throw them in there with the American Alphas. And then from there, you have an excellent feud. For those of you who watched NXT, you saw the great match between the Ascension and American Alpha. It can be done. The problem is WWE is holding them back and not giving them the opportunity to really shine. And I think a lot of that comes down to Vince. I mean, I don't know what you guys think on that, but Vince is really big on controlling whose gimmicks who's and who gets over and who doesn't get over.
Kyle, any response? I'm kind of interested to see if you have anything to say on this. And just for people that don't understand, and this is what I'm assuming what he is saying out of this is basically what he's saying is the vaudevillains should be doing squash matches to build them up and then putting them into the big title picture. Now, am I right?
Yeah, same thing with the
Okay.
Ascension,
That's
or at least one or the other if you want to build them up. Absolutely.
That's what I meant. The Ascension. Now, Kyle, do you agree with this? What's your follow up to that?
Yeah, I definitely agree. That's the best way you could build a tag team. Even a tag team that's completely buried and in the gutter, that kind of thing. You have them go away for a bit and come back with just completely decimated teams. You could start with jobbers and start with other teams, and just have them keep building up, building up, building up, building up. That's what they need. That's what teams like. There's so many people that from not even just like tag teams, people from NXT that do amazing at NXT. They get moved up, and they don't get the kind of pushes or opportunities they were getting at NXT. Even people like Sami Zayn too, going to Raw. Sami Zayn did amazing things in NXT, and he's been here and he got a few opportunities, but he's never really gotten the chance to chain wins or to have legitimate feuds besides Chris Jericho, which lasted for a minute, and Kevin Owens, which I mean was a feud in NXT and even before that. But anything besides that, he hasn't had a chance to really build a feud. Same with Ascension, same thing with the Vaudevillains, same thing with even Neville. So many people do not get opportunities that they got in NXT, and I don't understand it. You see how amazing they do in NXT when you give them just one chance. Like when you give them an inch, they take a mile. But here, WWE and Vince, whoever it is, won't even give them an inch. I don't get why. They're amazing talent, and they're wasting them. That's why some people have left and gone to other promotions. Yeah, WWE is the biggest brand, we know, but he's not using them right. He's losing so much good talent.
Well, it's because they take people like Tyler Breeze, and I'm sorry for interrupting again, but
You're good.
they take people like Tyler Breeze, and they put them with people that are going out the door, like Fandango, who has nothing better going for him. It's like, oh, we have nothing for him right now, let's just put him with him. Instead of giving him the opportunity, because guys like Tyler Breeze and the Ascension and the Vaudevillains, they have the talent. I mean, Tyler Breeze, he knows how to draw the heat from the crowd. He does. He's very talented. He's more than just a pretty face, but they're not using him effectively. And the brand split was designed to give those people more opportunity, but it still upsets me that, I mean, you can even say that about James Ellsworth, that people like Tyler Breeze are not getting as much screen time as people like James Ellsworth. And that really doesn't seem fair.
Well, speaking of Sami Zayn, another big announcement that happened tonight at Smackdown Live is there will be 2 title matches at Survivor Series. The one that we already know of is the Intercontinental Championship will go on the line. Sami Zayn versus the Intercontinental Champion Dolph Ziggler, and if Sami Zayn wins, the title goes to Raw, and if Dolph Ziggler wins, the title remains on SmackDown. And here's the breaking news. In return, the Cruiserweight Classic or the Cruiserweight Championship will be on the line. Brian Kendrick versus Kalisto, and if SmackDown or Kalisto wins, the entire Cruiserweight division moves to SmackDown.
Yeah, that is a big announcement. Could you imagine, we could actually see the Cruiserweights on SmackDown, which in general kind of makes sense, because the one thing we questioned from the start was why wasn't Kalisto drafted to Raw with all the other cruiserweights? Why is he being put on SmackDown? Well, maybe it's a possibility that this was the working order for the show since the beginning. Maybe their goal is to get the cruiserweights on SmackDown and get the Intercontinental title on Raw. But for me, I feel like that's going to be detrimental to Raw, considering they still have to fill that third hour, and the cruiserweights are probably the only thing keeping them afloat right now.
Okay, Kyle, what do you think of the potential or the possibility of SmackDown getting the cruiserweights? And I'll give my thoughts after.
I think it'd be a great thing, but I think it'd be awesome for SmackDown to have it. I think it'd be awesome to see the cruiserweights on there instead. But like Andrew said, the biggest issue was that if that happens, Raw is going to be even more fucked with the third hour than they already are. Because even with the 3 hours now, it's so still like it's so dragged out, and we just want it to be over already, kind of thing. But then now, if they end up losing the cruiserweight division, it's going to be so much worse. And I really don't want them to lose it. I want the cruiserweights to stay on Raw for the simple fact that they're helping the 3 hour show a lot more. And without them, it's going to be a complete train wreck, and it's going to be absolutely horrible.
See, I'm gonna actually disagree with you on that. I don't think the cruiserweights is helping the Raw at all. I don't. I don't find any
Really?
of these storylines great at all. You have one storyline, and that being the championship storyline, and that being it. It's kind of like the women's division right now. You know, when it comes to the men's division, and this is excluding the cruiserweight division, you have 2 or 3 storylines, so-called storylines, going on at the time. Women's division gets one. Well, for Raw at least, gets one, and then the cruiserweights get one. Now it's gotten to a point now where I don't think it's helping at all. I think their pay-per-view matches have been good, but I don't think that their everyday TV tapings have been good at all.
I honestly think that it's too early to say that, though, because they only just started 2 months ago. Then again, they should be running more feuds than what they are doing. I totally agree. That's what I was talking about on Keeping It Real on Saturday. The idea of is the cruiserweight division underused? And should they be expanding the cruiserweight division past what they originally thought? As in, should the cruiserweights challenge for their respective tag team titles? Would that be a more efficient way to use the cruiserweights?
Well,
And
go ahead.
and bringing them to SmackDown could be a way to kind of expand on that with different feuds and stuff.
Well, I mean, it would make SmackDown the best show out of the two, which SmackDown's arguably the best show right now. You can make that argument, but which I agree that SmackDown is the better show of the two. Excuse me, but there's always that one match or like 2 matches that on SmackDown that's kind of like, okay, I can go do this, this, and this, and I won't miss a beat. I think if you add the cruiserweights in that, I think that just makes SmackDown every hour, which the 2 hours making it where you can't get up, you have to watch. And a part of me is wanting to say that the reason why Raw could potentially get the Intercontinental Championship is because the Intercontinental Championship actually has meaning now. Miz has made, well, I wouldn't say just Miz, Ziggler and Miz by themselves made the Intercontinental Championship important again. And part of me wants to say they're doing that because they know that Raw needs something like that, because the Universal Championship, yeah, it's important, but they don't have anything else behind it. US title is kind of eh.
Yeah. It's just, you look at it and it's just like, if the Intercontinental title was to jump ship to Raw and SmackDown, where to gain the cruiserweights, what's going to happen to the middle people? Like, guys like The Miz and Ziggler who have really worked their ass off to prove that the Intercontinental title isn't that bad, Like, I feel like they're going to be the ones that really suffer from a move like this because they're going to get lost in the shuffle. Because Miz ain't going to be in the WWE World Heavyweight Championship picture, and neither is Dolph Ziggler for a while.
The Miz would not be bad to put in that title picture as a heel.
He wouldn't be,
imagine
but
him.
What's the likely?
Imagine him and Maurice, or what's her name? Is it Maurice?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm having such blonde moments with people right now. But imagine that couple as your champion. It would be very annoying, but to be completely honest with you, what they were doing for that while has been really good since he won it back at the Monday Night Raw after Mania.
But would they really take the chance on Miz though? That's what I'm looking at. Because
me personally, I think Maurice makes him a lot stronger.
And I totally agree with you, but like at the end of the day, it's really what management decides and what management thinks is profitable. And the question there is, do they see what we see in the Miz?
Yeah. Kyle, anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think they definitely see, I think management sees what we see because they wouldn't have had him hold the Intercontinental Championship for so long if they didn't see what we see. See how great he is at making people hate him. See how great he is at holding the championship and, making it to where no matter what, he will never let it go. Whether he intentionally gets, counted out, intentionally gets disqualified, Maurice helping him out, all that stuff. No matter what, he held on the title and makes the crowd hate him, and it comes so easy to him with his current character. So I definitely do think that management has to see what we see because, like I said, they wouldn't have given him the opportunity to have the title for so long if they didn't. They would have given him the title, nothing would happen, and then taken it away from nothing. But no, he held it for over 100 days for a reason. That's because he was amazing as a champion because he drew people in because he made people hate them and he had great feuds. That's why he held the title for so long, and that's why he would honestly do. I think he would do. Yeah, I agree with this. He would do great things in the WWE World Heavyweight Championship picture.
Yeah, I mean, so Kyle, final thought here for you two. Kyle, is the title switching shows the possibility of the title switching show? Is it a good move, bad move? If pick one and tell us why.
I don't know. I mean, on one hand, I really like Dolph Ziggler as a champion on SmackDown, but on the other hand, I really want to see Sami Zayn finally be given a title. He deserves it so much. He's done amazing things. He had the NXT Championship for, I mean, a good amount of time and did great things with it. And I think if he gets that, he will be put in a great place. And like I said, he definitely deserves it. But at the same time, like I said, I love seeing Ziggler as champion. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the guy. I've kind of I used to be. I lost it for a while, but I mean, he's really making it better. I'd like to use a fighting champion and all that stuff. But the biggest issue is that if we see one title change hands, pretty much the other one's going to change hands. If we see one person retain, the other one's going to retain. At least so we think, unless WWE just pulls something crazy out of their ass and makes one new champion, and then one championship retain. But I really just want to see the cruiserweight division stay on Raw because I mean, my opinion, the 3 hours, I do think, even though Blake you disagree, I do think the cruiserweights definitely help the show being 3 hours, and I think they need to stay there and keep doing what they're doing because it's still early. I know they're not working the angles right, but I think they should stay on Raw, keep doing what they're doing, and then the more time goes, they're going to start building more feuds with the cruiserweights and be a lot better. So my final thoughts on it is I think both champions should both retain. Just stick to what you're doing. Stick to what you know. Like if it ain't broke, don't fix it, kind of thing, in my opinion.
Now, we also cannot forget the possibility of one show getting both.
That's
Which
what I'm
is
saying.
true.
WWE could just throw that complete wild card and just make Dolph Ziggler retain and then Kalisto win, and then everything just go complete haywire. It's possible. It's quite possible.
I just don't see SmackDown losing a title. I think that's bad for business. I feel like the only one who has the opportunity of losing something and not really being too hurt by it is Raw, because they have the extra title. And I don't know. I really feel like the cruiserweights are making a difference on Raw, at least for me, because I'm tuned off to Raw 100%. But I'm always watching the TV when the cruiserweights are on, no matter who it is. I was super interested in when Noam Dar debuted last night. So, for me, the cruiserweights are a must see. I have to watch them. I'm a fan of so many of them. So, I really feel like it should stay on Raw. But if it switches to SmackDown, it's just going to make SmackDown more OP than it already is. And let's face it, none of us thought that SmackDown was going to be the better show after what we saw go down on the draft. And, again and again, SmackDown has proved us wrong. So,
Yeah, they really have. And me personally, I could see the title switching shows, just because of the fact that the Intercontinental Championship actually has meaning behind it now, and of course they want Raw to be the number one show out of the two, so why not? And when it comes to the cruiserweight, I think SmackDown will help it a lot, to be completely honest with you.
I don't know. I feel like they don't have the time to throw in all the feuds and matches and titles that they have now, and then add a cruiserweight division to it. I don't know. It'd be a tight fit. They would have to cut down some promos or something, but it's possible. I just think, like I said, if they work it right, like if they give cruiserweights more of a chance and make more feuds happen, they'd have a better shot at doing it on Raw than they would on SmackDown, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, we're kind of hitting that point where we're talking about everything. I wanted to do a prediction point right here. Who wins the Intercontinental Championship next week?
I'll let you take it first, Andrew.
I'm gonna say Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler retains and um, goes on to face Sami Zayn.
Oh, I agree. Dolph Ziggler will win and go take on Sami Zayn.
I think it'll just be an entertaining match just to see the two together. So I don't
Yeah,
think that they're gonna throw Miz in there, because you throw Miz in there and it really changes it, and it's not really his character to say, okay, well, I'm going to defend it at Survivor Series. He would completely say, I'm not doing it, So I think Ziggler's going to retain with it.
it's also the 900th episode, so why not put a show on? Now, Kyle, you.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, also, I think they realized that the Miz has had his run with the title. He did great things with it. He held it for a while, and they want to give Dolph Ziggler this chance, and which might be his last chance. So they want to see him make the most of it and see if he really does deserve kind of being in the company, because he's had a lot of shots and he's fallen on his face. And I think they're going to give him this could be his last one. And I mean, he did just get the title. I don't think they're going to have him lose it yet. And like you guys said, especially because the match of Survivor Series being Dolph against Sami Zayn, I think that would be a much better match and much more entertaining than it would be for the Miz and Sami Zayn, especially with the characters and differences and stuff like that. So I say Dolph Ziggler is going to win next week.
Okay, well, I think that's going to do it for us tonight. Don't forget that Thursday we'll have next big thing going on, talking about NXT, everything NXT. Saturday will be Keep Make It Real, and then obviously next week being a big week. Monday will be live, Tuesday will be live, Thursday we'll have either next big thing once again, or we're going to have in-game. Saturday we'll have our prediction show of NXT Toronto and the results of that, and we'll be immediately live after NXT Toronto with the results. Sunday being Survivor Series. God help us, 4 hours long. We'll have a prediction show, and we'll also be live immediately after for Kyle Lepore and Andrew Best. I'm Blake Carter. Until next time, peace out.